So what's the government really trying to do? What are the goals now? And you'll see the acronym a lot, CBP. CBP is Customs and Border and Protection. They're now the agency that controls duties and taxes. Assessing and collecting customs duties, we always knew that. Identifying and seizing illegal imports. Regulating and facilitating the movement of cargo. Detecting fraud. Compiling import and export trade data. This is huge. It really is. It's big. Inspecting agricultural products at the time of importation. Protect the welfare and the security of the United States. Guarding against intellectual property theft and enforcing U.S. trade laws such as quotas, anti-dumping, and marking of imported goods. Just give you a few examples that, I never really thought about it much until I really started getting into the international business myself. But we do a lot of business with a sportswear company here locally. And we bring a lot of the product in from Asia. And we're constantly being checked by the U.S. government for fraud. We don't think about things like, trademarks for, like everybody knows Notre Dame and the trademark that the Fighting Irish bring. Well, there's a value to that. And when we bring that across the border, it gets held up right away. And we need to prove that we have permission to produce that and bring it into the country. That type of stuff is very important. I do a lot of business for a company that imports teas and baked goods. And the FDA is so particular about the ingredients, the markings, and having things done exactly the way they want it. And when I first started getting into this, it was really frustrating, and it was like, why do we really need to do this stuff? But then you think back, and would you want your safety to stuff that you eat or your drugs? So there's a reason for all this. And when they stop product because it's not marked right or it doesn't have the proper ingredients on it the way the FDA wants it to, they're doing that to protect you and to make sure that you're not getting substandard quality food. So there's definitely a theft problem, enforced to make sure your agriculture and your food is correct. Any other comments about that? Okay. Let me talk about another document. And again, it's in the book. Example in the book if you want to look at it. A bill of lading. A legal document between the shipper and the carrier detailing the type, quantity, destination of the goods being carried. The only thing I could say, outside of international, I could tell you no shipment should ever be shipped without a bill of lading. Okay? A bill of lading is a legal document. And I know the gentlemen over here are just all shaking their head laughing at me. It's a legal document. Okay? Be careful what you do with it. Now, let's talk about just a generic bill of lading, even before we get into the international side. A bill of lading is a legal document. Make sure that when you accept a shipment, that you take the time to examine your shipment and make sure you take the time to match what is on the bill of lading to what is you're actually receiving. Okay? If you want to ship out 5,000 widgets, and on your bill of lading you're going to put 5,000 widgets, you're telling your consignee that when they receive your shipment, they should really count 5,000 widgets. Am I right? Okay? Is that what you want? And if it's not what you want, then you better write 20 skids of widgets. Okay? What I'm trying to put across here is that whatever description you put on your bill of lading is what should be verified on the other end. And there's so many times when I see a bill of lading that says 5,000 widgets and somebody signs off and says, I received 10 skids. You're telling me you counted the 10 skids, but you're not telling me that you know that you received 5,000 widgets. Now again, that might not be a big deal if you're dealing with a customer from Buffalo to Rochester and you know the person and you have a real good relationship with them and your product might only be costing $1 a piece. If you're 10 widgets short, it's probably not a big deal and you'll ship 10 more widgets UPS or however to Rochester. But when you're shipping your product or you're receiving a product from Asia or shipping it to Europe or down to Brazil, and these widgets cost $10,000 a piece, and now all of a sudden you come up 4 short, and you signed for 10 skids, and now you're fighting. Okay? I'm sure you've never had that problem, right, Russ? Okay? So what I want to make sure everybody knows is a bill of lading represents the receipt of your goods and it transfers the title of the goods. Okay? So make sure it's accurate. Or on the international side, okay, I'll tell you something that happens a lot. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying just know the risk when this happens. You bring in a container from Germany, and it comes through the port of New York. And the drayage company says, I'll take your container to a warehouse in New York, I'll offload it for you and put it on a truck and bring it to you in Buffalo, and I'll be able to save you $100 by doing that. $200, $300, whatever it is. That shipping company or trucking company is telling you the right thing. They could save you money because they don't have to bring you the container. However, when that shipping company breaks the seal in the port of New York and transloads it onto a truck, they're telling your vendor that everything they said they shipped was received. And are you okay with that? Do you ever do that? No. But you know what I'm talking about? Okay? So, I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm not saying not to do it. I'm not saying to do it. All I'm saying is know that there's a risk. Is there anybody here that doesn't know what a shipping container is? Students in the back, you've all been exposed to shipping containers? No. That's okay, Krista. You can say no. Okay, great. I'm going to take 2 seconds here, and I'm going to explain. A shipping container is, if you look in your book, the book that I gave you, maybe not now, but at some point you'll see, they'll give you a picture of a shipping container. But a shipping container is a container that gets brought to your vendor, your company, and you load your product into that container. The container gets shut and sealed, so it's locked. All right? That container is then put on a ship that's brought to a port, that is then put on a truck, that is then brought directly to either you or your customer. And when it gets to you, you break that lock so you know that none of your product has ever been taken. That container is called a shipping container. Okay? 2 things. When you ship something, make sure that your container has a seal. For the students in the back, a seal is like a lock that has a series of numbers on it. That seal or lock that you put on either a container or a truck, however you transport your goods, that serial number should be put on your bill of lading. When you receive your goods, that's telling you, your vendor is telling you that your 5,000 widgets were put into this container, was locked and sealed with this serial number. That's telling, your vendor is saying, I'm the only one that is responsible. Okay? That's what it's really saying. And the number should be on the bill of lading. When you receive your product, the very first thing you should do is take your bill of lading, look at the serial number, physically go to the back of the container and match the serial number on the bill of lading with the serial number on the container. If it's different, do not accept your shipment. Do not. Don't do it.